Hello, my friend. It is almost the end of the year, and we have had quite a journey together on this podcast over the last few years and certainly the last few months. So, I put the podcast, the Happiness Happens podcast, on pause for almost an entire year and picked back up this current year, 2023, in April with brand new episodes that I had previously recorded and a whole bunch of amazing guests that I met throughout the year this year. I am so excited to share this conversation with you today because I think that this is going to be one of those game changer episodes that is the perfect fit and the exact thing that you need right at the end of this year. So, what I've decided, I actually have shivers just thinking about it because all the things that you're about to hear are just super, super powerful. So, I have been interviewing people in 2024. It'll be almost 4.5, like almost 5 years I've been interviewing people. And the Happiness Happens podcast is well over 200 episodes now at this point, which is an absolutely incredible accomplishment that I'm just so proud and so grateful to have had the ability to do, to bring you these conversations, and also to have you tuning in each week and sharing what you're loving from our conversations. Like, you don't know how much that means to me. And you have no idea how much it means to me that you are here and that you are present and that you are learning and enjoying and sharing with all of us who come together to listen to the Happiness Happens podcast every single week. Now, today's podcast is going to be a little bit different than most. What I've decided to do is take 5 of my favorite moments from episodes this year and highlight them for you. Now, give me a second. I'm also going to be running another episode that follows this one that is the exact same format and that will come out next week. It'll be episode 212. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if you make it to the end of my podcast, I know that not all of us get to listen to every single episode in full, but if you've ever made it to the end of my podcast, you'll know that I ask my guest, every single guest, one way that you can create a little more happiness in your day every day starting today. So, what I've done is I've gone through all of the podcast episodes that I've recorded this year, and I listened back to all of my guests' moment and recommendation for you to create a little more happiness in your life every single day. So, what I've done is compiled them all into this episode, and I want to share them all with you so that you can take them and roll into the new year 2024. So, the first clip that I want to highlight, and we're going to go in order, is from episode 178 this year from my guest, Sandra. She shares what it's like and the power of living life on your terms, living life doing what you want to do, and how it will benefit you to create this powerful, powerful life that is simply built upon your desires. Let's listen to it.
I think that the biggest way that we can create happiness in our lives is for us to truly be living the life of our dreams and not other people's dreams. I also think that the biggest way to create happiness in your life is being true to yourself. Really recognizing that it's about what makes you happy, finding what makes you happy and not what makes other people happy. What is it that is truly your joy?
Now tell me that doesn't leave you already feeling super inspired to just grab 2024 by the ropes and just roll into it. I mean, for me, it did for me. That's why I'm sharing it for you as one of the first ones. The next one that I want to highlight is with Lewis, who is my guest on episode 185. And he talks about using gratitude as a weapon and going hard into gratitude. So having gratitude, but taking it that one step further. Let's listen to his tip.
Oh, I don't want to give a generic answer.
Ah.
I really don't. Okay, so my initial go-to is gratitude, but I'm gonna give a different answer. So I'm gonna give gratitude in a different way. So this is something which has really been helping me the past 12 months when I get not anxiety attacks, but I start to feel that anxious feeling coming up, and I use gratitude as a weapon. So the second I feel that anxiousness, I will go hard into gratitude and just say everything I can think of that I'm grateful for, and that really helps subside that anxious feeling. So that's really good. The other thing I'm going to say is put on your favorite dance music and dance wherever you are like nobody's watching. And if that's uncomfortable, do it somewhere that nobody's watching. But move your body and dance and just enjoy that music. And that will, even if you're not feeling it, is going to spark some happiness in you, because your body will respond chemically to you dancing to one of your favorite songs.
I know we talk a lot about gratitude, and for some of us, we can just like roll our eyes and be like, yeah, okay, but I know. But it really, really is powerful when you can actually tap into that grateful and gratitude frequency. It brings so much benefit and so much opportunity into your life. The next one that we are going to highlight today is episode 188 with my guest, Sonia. And she is just such a light. And our conversation together was super, super powerful. And I loved every single minute of it. And she talks about connecting to yourself and connecting to your feelings without judgment. She leaves a lot of nuggets of wisdom, so I'm not going to spoil them so that you can listen to them in full. But let's just take a listen, and then I want to know what you think.
Be willing to connect. Ask yourself in the moment, what could feel good? What could feel good? And then don't judge it. Don't evaluate it. Don't worry about if it sounds big enough or small enough. Don't worry about if it's going to be productive or if it's self-care oriented or self-development oriented. Connect with yourself. And also find out, while you're connecting with yourself, by getting curious, which part of you needs what? Which part of you needs what? Which part of you needs something in this moment to make it feel a little lighter, a little better, a little tastier, a little bit more enjoyable? And, you know, inherently, as I was saying earlier, when you live a life where you're overriding all the time, chasing, you miss all the cues that your body and that your mind are giving you around, like, oh, maybe I like this, maybe I could want this or whatever. But when you stop to listen, you realize there's a way to make everything just a little bit sweeter in every moment. And it doesn't take much. Like, did I eat food out of the box, or did I put it in a plate that felt like, I don't know, that would feel like just 2% better? And what I've realized is that, we search for these big happy moments, and we try to do these big practices on a daily basis that are going to make us feel happier, when really the culmination of some really simple dropped in moments throughout the day where we honor how we're feeling and what we need can create that sense of momentary joy, that peace, that happiness. And I think that's the biggest thing, knowing also that happiness, in my mind, is like a skill that you have to hone. It's not a destination. And the more that you can reframe how you're expecting to experience happiness, the more you can cultivate more of it today so that you can feel more of it tomorrow. And something as simple as writing down the good moments as they happen throughout the day, as opposed to waiting to nighttime to capture your like phony gratitude about your day, for me has been a simple tool that's been game changing, because it's like, you know what? I'm predisposed to being negative. I'm predisposed to the vortex. But if I had a good feeling, I did something that I was proud of, I showed up for something, there was a moment that felt aligned, I write it down, and I like give myself a second to just feel it, like for real in the bod. And then I move on and I get back to work, right? So it's, to me, the simple, small moments to connect, to honor what's coming up, to do that 2% that you can do to cater to that version of you that needs whatever, and then to capture the good feelings as they come so you don't forget about them when you're stressed out after your kids go to bed.
Now tell me that doesn't leave you feeling like you are just ready to conquer the world. I mean, I listened back to these clips and I was like, okay, yeah, I was like, I can do all things and I can honor myself in all ways because of this simple, powerful way of showing up in the world, which lends itself very nicely to my next guest that I want to highlight today. Her name is Christy, and she was featured on episode 190. And we talk about meditation. We talk about not only using traditional meditation, but how do we access meditation differently and show up fully for ourselves in our lives? Let's listen to her tip.
I think that it's meditation. I think that is huge and one of the most important things that we can do. And we can meditate in so many different ways. So you can do traditional meditation or guided meditation, or going for walks, going for hikes, doing something artistic, whatever it is that you can get lost in, that you can lose yourself in and lose time in. That's going to allow you to connect with your soul. And when you're connected with your soul, you're going to be more connected to your happiness.
I don't know about you, but I know for myself that I can actually find it really hard to meditate, to like sit down and to shut off my brain for that amount of time. So I really like that she talked about, going for walks and all that kind of stuff, because I find that I do my best thinking and I can clear my mind the most when I'm outside walking, whether that's inside on my treadmill or whether that's outside in nature. Either way, I find that when I'm moving my body in that way and being intentional of like connecting my mind to my body and what's going on, I'm able to tap into that place of the frequency that our mind would be on when we are simply just talking about meditation. So I love that tip from Christy. The last one that I want to share with you in today's episode is from my guest for episode 193, Andi. And she talks about taking a moment to pause and taking that moment to retreat. So I'm not going to spoil this clip because I want you to hear it in full, the exact way that she says it. But it's super, super powerful. And I think you can gain a lot from it.
I think just taking a moment throughout your day. You don't have to go to the gym to move. You don't have to go to the grocery store to reset what you're putting in your body. You don't have to quit your job and burn it all down to feel a little bit different in how you're working. So just taking a moment to do a thing that will make that shift for you. So for movement, if that's just like taking a second and dancing in the kitchen, for eating a little bit healthier today, if that's like making sure you drink a little bit more water and add something green to your plate tonight. And work, if that's just being a little bit more transparent about how you feel with what your present workload looks like when you're having a conversation with a boss, perhaps. Those are things that we can do every day to create a little bit more happiness that we do not have to wait until tomorrow to do. So I think just taking it moment by moment and implementing things that will lead you to a more radiant life along the way.
I wanted to share these 5 tips with you today because I know, again, that not everyone gets to make it to the end of each episode. And I always save that most powerful piece for last because I want you to walk away with something that leaves you feeling inspired and excited and fulfilled in your day after listening to our conversations. So I want to know what you think today. How do you take any of these different tips and how could you potentially implement them in your life, in your journey, so that you can show up as your most full and most authentic self in 2024? How can you take these small nuggets of wisdom, implement them in your day-to-day life, and really show up as the person that you are, the person that you are becoming, and honoring the person that you have been in the past? It's about creating that sense of gratitude, joy, peace, inner fulfillment, inner peace, inner joy. So it's about creating it on the outside, and it's also about cultivating it on the inside. And that's the part that matters the most, is creating it from within. Because if you don't have peace within, you will not find peace out there. It's going to feel chaotic. It's going to feel overwhelming. It's going to feel like too much. You will hit burnout. You will hit frustration. You will make yourself sick. So take these tips today, implement them into your heart, your soul, and your life. You don't need to implement all of them, just the ones that resonate with you. And be sure to go back to each of these conversations and listen to them if you want to leave feeling even more inspired. I love that I get to do this every single week. I love that I get to be here with you. And I love that you get to hear these powerful, transformative conversations every single week because we have so much more in store for you for 2024 and in the new year. And I can't even wait for you to hear these conversations because they are going to be absolutely game changer, life changing. And we are going on a big journey together on the Happiness Happens podcast in the new year. So thanks for tuning into today's episode. Thank you for listening to these incredible nuggets of wisdom from my past guests. We're going to do the same thing on the podcast next week. Be sure to let me know what you think on social media. Did you like this? Did you like this format? Did you like this little series? What did we think? Did we love it? Did we not? If you loved it, leave a rating and leave a review and share it with somebody else that you know might need a little bit of a pick-me-up this holiday season. Or if you're listening to this after the holidays, a little pick-me-up in general, because a little bit of love, compassion, sharing, gratitude, and understanding goes a very, very long way. Have a beautiful holiday, my friend, and I will see you next week on the Happiness Happens podcast.